Greetings and welcome to episode 9, Yellowstone Ghost Stories. The Ratty Ghosts. Have you seen any rats lately? I got a cat that likes to hunt them in our neighbor's yard, and he likes to come in our yard and play with them and scare them around the way. And then at the end of the day, I end up finding dead rats in the backyard. Oh boy, the Ratty Ghosts. The Ratty Ghosts may be the only ghost story ever recorded in the National Park Service Rangers Report. This unique little story has its own mysterious way of getting into print and almost didn't make it. When we started researching this book, everyone asked, "Have you heard the one about the ghosts in the old Fountain Hotel?" Truth is, it was one of the first stories suggested to us. Strangely enough, everyone knew the story, but no one could come up with its origin. Most sources told us that it was somewhere in Aubrey Haynes' 2-volume book entitled The Yellowstone Story, but that proved false. After 3 years of dead ends, we contacted Mr. Haynes in hopes he would solve the mystery. He did. It was not in his book or any book. He directed us to the writings of an early Yellowstone ranger, and through these writings, the story is finally told. The Fountain Hotel was built in 1890 for what was at that time an exorbitant price of $100,000. It was built in the lowest geyser basin on a tree-covered hill about a quarter-mile north of present Fountain Paint Pots parking lot. Today, the main road cuts through a portion of that hill, and the hotel was just east of the road. Owned by a private concessionaire, the Yellowstone Park Association Hotel Fountain was built to pamper the wealthy visitors. It was the largest hotel in the park, and its rooms were first occupied during the 1891 season. It succeeded the old Fire Hole Hotel, which was then burned to the ground. Upon completion, the Fountain Hotel boasted 143 rooms, steam heat baths using hot springs water, and electricity. Many rooms had spectacular views of the Fountain Geyser area. If that was not enough, its frequent gala balls allowed gentlemen and lady visitors to unpack their silks and suits for a grand social life. In 1904, Old Faithful Inn opened its doors and welcomed guests to a new and unique experience, what some called the largest log building in the world. This development emptied many of the Fountain Hotel rooms. In 1915, the Secretary of the Interior allowed automobiles into the park, and the Fountain Hotel was doomed. Everyone drove the extra 7 miles to stay in the Old Faithful Inn and watch the world-famous geyser for which the inn was named. By 1917, the Fountain Hotel was abandoned. 10 years later, after being razed, the hotel's remains were finally burned and the site cleaned up. Rangers and others said it was just as well that the hotel was gone because it was haunted. It seems that on one crisp autumn day, the hotel's winter keeper was aroused by the ringing of the service bell connected to one of the hotel rooms. Even though he knew the room was empty, he felt the need to check it out. When he arrived at the room, he found exactly what he knew he would: absolutely nothing. The following day, at precisely the same time, the winter keeper was again aroused by the same service bell ringing from the same hotel room. Now he knew not only was the room vacant, but the whole hotel was empty, as the tourist season was over and preparations were being made to close the hotel for the winter. Nevertheless, the winter keeper ventured down the hall to the room. He found it empty. The next day, the bell rang again at the same time, and again the day after that, and so on for days and days. Each day the bell rang at the same time each day. Each time the winter keeper went immediately to the room, and each time he was met with the same eerie results. As can be imagined, these kinds of odd, unexplained occurrences would frighten anyone. Finally, the poor winter keeper could stand it no more. He refused to remain in the haunted hotel and fled, vowing to never return. As far as we know, he never did. A few months after the winter keeper abandoned the hotel, a park investigation reached an unusual but perhaps more believable conclusion. It was a mouse. Apparently, a mouse had built its nest in the walls of the ghostly room. Every evening at the same time, the mouse would go out to gather food and do whatever else mice do, and it would crawl through the hotel's walls. As it crawled, it stepped on the bell wire, causing the bell to ring. The ghostly tale of the call bell in the Fountain Hotel spread throughout the park and through newspapers across the country. Our version is based on the entries found in a collection of notes by Newell F. Joyner. So the Ratty Ghosts were the ones that were ringing the bell. Yes, you rang?